Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stockradar Stocks in the Move for another week. Today's date is the 18th of September 2025. My name is Richard Lee and I made the stockradar.com.au website for you. Okay, talking about finding those little gems at the moment. Well, there's plenty of them out there at the moment, so we'll find out about a few of them today and how we find them. So if we use our intelligence to be sensible, wise and shrewd, we will make good decisions. Okay. On the other hand, words like silly, recklessness, hopeful, greedy are words that come to mind. They're words we don't want. So there's a clear separation about how we approach the markets, and that's really what I try and do. Your discipline, system, process, all this sort of stuff. Okay? Right, okay, so let's firstly, on that little note, we're going to look at the gems a little bit later on, but firstly we're going to go through our trend intensity ratings and see what we've got at the moment. Firstly, a little bit different this day. I mean, the metals markets are going a bit crazy again. So we've got Ramblers Resources, we've got Regis Resources at the top there. Genesis, NAB is making new highs. We'll look at that one a bit later on. Newcrest just keeps going, so Newmont, it should call it these days, it should be NEM, not NCM. Dicker Data has come and hit the boards again. APA is just crawling nicely, and you can see there, we can see that since the break up there, it's steadily moved higher and higher and higher, and it's now rating trend intensity rating of 10. So we've had a really nice reversal there and breakout, and now we're getting the new trend developing there for APA. Ramelius Resources there is making new highs. The Lottery Corp's doing well. ALQ and 360 are also doing well at the moment, making new highs again. So there's a top 10. There's a few more of the top 10s there, but there's a selection at this stage. Our stock pick count is flat this week. Okay, so no real change. We had 2 in and 2 out this week, so a little bit of rotation there. But 71 stock picks and 158 stocks covered at the moment. Okay, so let's get into the overseas markets firstly and have a look at the Dow Jones Industrial. Again, we're starting to see a lot of change in the overseas markets. Indices going up, commodities are flat apart from gold, and okay, let's just try this one then. Okay, so here's the Dow. Okay. Trend up, making new highs, solid volume, momentum's okay, it's good there, fine. We're not going to spend a lot of time on these because there's not a lot of change. S&P's making new highs, trend up, good volume, as is the Nasdaq. Okay, so they're just pottering along nicely. We've had some pretty big gains since March this year, huge gains since March of this year, so I've got to be a little bit careful, but the trend is still up at the moment, and we're not seeing any signs of any worries there. Our market, it's made new highs, struggled a little bit more, the minings there, have held it back a little bit, many of the bigger miners, but they're sort of up and down a little bit. Smaller ones is where we're focused at the moment. And gold is also still on the up, so no change there again. It's making new highs again, doing very well. Volume is very good, so it's kicking on nicely. Copper and Brent are both pretty staid, not much happening there, and neither of those stocks, neither of those commodities at the moment. Okay, so now we're going to get into the good bit, which is the stocks we talk about. Talk about a couple of new highs today. Firstly, Ramelius Resources, which has really had a fairly long-term, nice prevailing uptrend there. You can see since sort of August 22. And you can see now we're actually making new highs. Here's the all-time high back here in October 20. We're now making new highs here, pushing higher. And again, this is this simplicity of analysis and process here. We look at new highs, we follow them, we buy them with a stop, and we see what happens. Sometimes we need a couple of tries at them, but as long as we get those stop in places there, we're looking at limiting our risk and having the unlimited potential of a good trade. So with something like Ramelius Resources there, just blow that up again there, you can see the gain that it's made over the last couple of weeks have been monstrous. So that's fantastic. Trend intensity rating of 10 Ramelius Resources. National Bank, I sort of reiterate this again. Very interesting that these are actually making new highs, or the NAB is, CBA has, Westpac's close, ANZ has its own woes at the moment, as we know. But we can just see really the simplicity of developing the right attributes again. We've got a new high happening here, we've got great volume down here, we've got good momentum, it's above the average. We've got the high highs, high low scenario there, so it's all in place there really for this could have a mighty good rally. So, and as we are hitting above the cycle high for NAB, it's quite an exciting time. So certainly worth a shot this one. Again, always have protection in place when you're doing this sort of thing, but it certainly looks we've got all the green lights going there for all our tools there that we use. Okay, Stockradar is another interesting one. You know, it had a fantastic time many years ago. It suffered quite a bit more recently. It's come down from about $16, and it's come down to about $8. So it cut itself in half, which is a pretty good correction pattern. And now we've got down here. We've rallied, we've tested it again. We've had quite a few tests through here to the start of this year there, until finally we've got the downtrend breaking, the moving average breaking, and we're now starting to get some good turn in price here. And if I just blow up the volume here, we've got some big spikes here to get rid of, but you can see there, since the last last month or so, we've really seen some good gains on some great volume there. So it really is a good turn here for Stockradar. I do cover this in the newsletter coming at the end of this month, new format newsletter, very much focused on stocks. But Stockradar is a very interesting one, I think, because David Dick is now gone. It's moved to the ASX 200. Things have happened there, but finally now, after a big correction phase, it's a great business. Simply sells computer hardware for the most part, which is not a very complicated business, and it's been doing very well for many years under David Dicker. And the people are still there running the place properly, as they should be, despite David Dicker not being there. So Stockradar is looking very interesting there, and you can see there the potential there. R1 and R2 are both potential targets for Stockradar over the next few months or years maybe. Okay, then we can go to the Lottery Corp. Okay, the Lottery Corp, slow starter, but finally got on its home. It's now starting to move pretty well since we got that break again. The new high triggers that pattern where we get the abundance of buyers, the sellers become buyers, and there's more buyers. So all of a sudden you've got this weight of buying that pushes these moves higher, and it's almost an essential thing really, because the sellers have got to reverse their positions. And so you get this good volume happening here, momentum, all those signals are in place there. All we need to do is watch these things and I don't get distracted by other things in there that I could be or would be or maybe or ifs or buts. I just focus on the four key things that I use to give me a good indication of what's happening. So sensible, wise and shrewd decision. We've got a new high here. It's now broken high very well, and it's edging higher there on good volume and good momentum. So the Lottery Corp, well, it's an interesting business, lotteries, so as we all know. So and if you get it right, which looks like Lottery Corp are, then we can well see this trend continue higher. Okay, the other one here I want to talk about is Lynas Rare Earth this week. We've got some good profits in there, but as always, we've got to be very careful about how we trade these stocks, because we can get it very comfortably happy with a stock that's moved like this. It's moved higher. Our entry is way back down here at $8. It's now up around, it's touched 15, just come back a little bit. But there's some good gains there we need to protect, okay? So we never want to see those disappear. So it's important. You can see where my stop is at the moment, just above $13 there. Protecting all those gains that we've got there. Don't want to get away. If I do get stopped out and it makes a new high, I just run with it again. So, it's important to make sure we protect our profits. And that's what I'm going to do with Lynas. So it's made a new high. It looks very interesting, very exciting. This is new software that I've got here from Pro Real Time, and so I'm just having a little bit of trouble with a few things there, but it's a few things are a little bit different on here, so I'm just getting to learn it myself. But it still works well. Pro Real Time, I love it. It's a great bit of software that I use. So there we have it. Lynas, the stop is in place there, and we've set that stop. All the other things that don't really matter too much at the moment. We've got great volume, we've got great momentum, all that sort of stuff is fine. The stop is really the most important thing now, because that defines our profit or our loss. So in this stage, it's going to be a profit. It's a matter of how much it's going to be. Okay, that's Lynas. We've also got another stock here that's made a nice little trend reversal pattern here, finally. Took a while to get on its bike here, Homeco, but now we've seen quite a good trend reversal pattern here that's happened over about a year, or just under a year, since November last year. We've got the higher low, which is what we like to see. We've got the clear resistance level where the sellers, and as we saw with the Lottery Corp, once we get these new highs, the odds are that you're going to see the rebalancing there of sellers to buyers and more buyers coming in there. And we can see clearly down here the volume. I can just squeeze it up a little bit more just so you can see it more clearly. Some really nice volume pushing this higher, and the momentum is good. And it's just a similar pattern you see all the time, and you don't see them all the time in the charts, but when you get this alignment of the stars, this is when you really want to run with it and be very positive about it. Okay, I'm going to go through a couple of things in my trading tactics before, just a little bit about what we do and why we do it, and why we can be successful at what we do. So Homeco is trading, its trend intensity rating is plus 10 because everything's in place. It's had a trend reversal. It's now showing great potential as we move from that downtrend phase, accumulation phase, and into the uptrend phase. How far it goes, we don't really know, but we just manage that with our stop loss. Okay, so that's Homeco. So there's a few stocks for you today to have a look at. So there's plenty of those little gems out there, and there's a lot more than what I've got at the moment. But these are some interesting stocks. I mean, they're very simple, as you can see, as to what's happened, and there's nothing really complicated about it. We don't need to overcomplicate things. We need to keep them simple and make them easy for us, because that's the way it should be. Okay, one other little stock I've got for you today is AGL. Now, lots happened with AGL. We know over the last year or two, things have changed. Over the last couple of years, it was once a $28 stock, which is where this big downtrend came from originally. There's got a bit of excitement there. I think Cannon Books took it over, and then we've moved into a more environmentally friendly environment. However, the failure up here at around about $12. At 1, 2, 3 tries there, and we failed. Once we fail there, the potential is for it to move back towards the low of the range, which is around here. We've got the highs here, the lows here, and it's come back down here fairly quickly. Now, interesting is now we've got to that level. Now what do we do? Okay, this is as close where often a reversal can come from. So now we start weighing up our odds here and seeing our evidence here and seeing what's happening. So we've hit support at S1, which it came to back in February 24. So it's just over a year ago. And now we're seeing some interesting volume patterns here. Now, when I see a big maximum hit of volume there, it usually means it's a last gasp sell-off. There's a few people just selling off. They've had enough. They're getting out. They're despairing, and they've just had enough. And so they sell out. And then you start to see a little bit of pickup in the buying here. If I blow it up a little bit, you can see here the buying has started to appear. Some good buying, better than we've seen for quite a while. And now the price is starting to come off this level here. So this is really a starting point of the process we look at. This is good evidence here. We've got support. We've now got volume. We now want to see a bit of follow through, okay? So let's see how this key low plays out. But key lows are very interesting points where trend reversals often do begin their process from. And this is where we watch. I'm conservative, so I wait for things to develop. It doesn't really matter because we don't know where this trend might go. It may go, if it does reverse, it may go back to $12. It may go back to $28. It may go further. We don't really know. But we just play the trend reversal as it happens and let it evolve, and we follow it with our stop loss, okay? So in this situation here, momentum is really not a big player because we know the momentum has been down. We know it's been weak. We're really evaluating a potential turn in the price. So that's what we're doing here at the moment. We've got two bits of good evidence. Support is held and volume starting to appear. And I like that volume pattern there. The huge volume there means probably there's not a lot of sellers left in this one now. And the buyers are starting to get a little bit of confidence to creep back in at this level. So that's an interesting one, and probably one we might follow over the next couple of months for you and just see how it plays out. Okay, so there's a few stocks there for you. We've got National Bank, we've got Dicker Data, Lottery Corp, some interesting ones there. Stock protection with Linus. So all those sort of things in place that I do. And it's fairly simple how I do. As you can see, the process that I follow is not complicated, and neither should it be. Okay, so they're the stocks I've got for you today. Now I just want to go talk about a little bit picking your targets. This is back on my trading tactics. Okay, so it's really about, when we're trying to select stocks, okay? Now, firstly, we know that we have a defined group of stocks we follow because we can't follow every stock. And we've also got a defined group of stocks in our portfolio because we can't trade every stock. We just need to make sure the stocks we've got in our portfolios, be it a 5-stock portfolio or a 10-stock portfolio, are good ones. Now, the good ones will stay in, the weak ones will be weeded out, and that's the process I follow. Again, very, very simple. If it doesn't go and it hits my stop, I get out, and the ones that run, because the stock market spends most of its time rising, as do stocks. So we play that side all the time, we will get it right. So I always follow the same simple steps Same simple steps to reach my target. Okay, it's not that complicated. Okay, so initially what I started with, it's about getting educated, about taking a few losses, getting educating, understanding the stock market, and I'm here to help you as much as I can with my trading centre. Okay, so understanding the stock market, and I know a lot of you already do. Sometimes you just can't get your trading quite right, and that's because there's a few things like system, process, discipline that needs to be involved. So first we need to get educated. Okay, then secondly, we build a system that we like. It might be a short-term, long-term. You know, I don't know. It all depends on how you think and what you are. I follow trends. That's all I do. Lots of people follow trends. Some people make money out of them. Some people don't make money out of them for many reasons. But that's what I do. My system is based on following a trend, either a new high or a trend reversal. That's it. Two signals that I use. That's my system, and my system is then built with inbuilt with a stop loss, which is, excuse me, probably the most important part of the system, which is risk management. Okay, so we build a system, then we develop a process to follow. Okay, how do we select each stock? What's the signal? How do we monitor each stock? How do we look after our portfolio? What are the rules of our portfolio? Our sector limits? What market caps are we going to follow? All these sort of basic rules, excuse me, that we need to follow. So we have a process to follow, and that guides us all the way through our trading process, our trading journey. Okay, so then we need to use a discipline to implement it. Okay, so that's probably the hardest part, which we really need to do. I was going to have a drink because I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat. Excuse me. So then we need to use a discipline to implement it, and that's probably the hardest part again, because we like to think we know better sometimes, whether we're going to hold liners for a bit longer even though our stop goes off, or we're not going to take this signal because we're still a bit nervous because it's come down a long way and we're fearful. We need to have the discipline to implement our system and our process. Okay, and that's very, very important. Okay, like anything. Any discipline, whether it's taekwondo, whether it's driving a car, all these sorts of things that we do. There are things we do, things we don't do, things that are right, things that are wrong, and we must follow these processes. Okay, so if we don't follow the process driving a car, we have a crash, and that's the same thing in the stock market. Okay, there are lots of analogies I can use, but that's just basically a simple thing. The only thing about the stock market is it involves money, and money can drive our minds crazy sometimes, and that's the hard part. But anyway, that's just the way it is. That's what we need to have our blinkers on, not think about too much about the money, think about the process and how we're doing it. So we really need to have that discipline to implement that process. And if we do, well, the likelihood of success is good. So we then really need to have the confidence to master it. And that confidence comes with time of developing a process, implementing it, taking a few losses, taking a few profits, working out that you can actually make money if you follow the system properly, minimise your losses, maximise your profits, things like that. So the confidence will come, and then you'll start to believe in yourself, and it will then become a nice, happy, safe journey for you. Okay, so that's really just going through that process that you need to follow to understand how to be a good trader and how to be successful. So what I try and do is I try and guide you with those sorts of things, and I also try and provide you the tools you need to understand. So as well as what I've just talked about there, education, system, process, implementing a discipline, then there's the actual system itself to follow, the signals, the entry, the exit, the stop, all that process as well. So I show you that in my trading centre. I cover about 158 stocks at the moment. I show you what I'm doing with every stock, what my trend intensity rating is, whether it's a stock pick or not, where have I entered the stock, where I've entered it, what price I've entered it, what price will I get out, all those sorts of things there to try and guide you so you can follow it. And you may follow me, you may try and use your own ideas, but really the ingredients in that trading centre, all that process there are there that every system must have. Risk management, entries, exits, all those sorts of things are common to all trading systems. Okay, so that's about all I've got for today. There's my lovely disclaimer. And more about finding those little gems. You can see there's plenty of them out there at the moment for you to have a look at, so keep an eye on them all. So just remember that our business is not to be smart and glorious, but to be sensible, shrewd, and hopefully profitable. That's basically it. So it's just a business and should be treated as such like any other business. and that's what I try and do. I treat stock trading as a business, profits and losses, incomes, expenses, things like that. And if you do think like that, then you probably do okay. But in the process, stay humble in success, because that's very, very important. And not let your head get too big, too small, whatever. So it's not an easy game sometimes, but if you put all those things in place and have all those disciplines, you'll be okay. Okay, so that's all I've really got for today. Hope you enjoyed it. There's lots of fun happening out there in the market at the moment. Who knows what today's going to bring? I don't know. But you must watch your trends, heed your stops, keep it simple, have fun, stay safe, and I will see you all next week for another round of Stocks on the Move by Stockradar. Okay, thanks very much.